Good afternoon, friends. We all are aware that there are many countries in the world and people living there speak different languages. Probably sometimes we must have forced our brain to think why some languages in this world are easier to learn and some very difficult. Like for example, Chinese, Japanese is too difficult to learn and English is quite simpler to learn. But since we are in the scientific world and we measure things onto some mathematical formulation or some concrete theory, that should force us to think why one language is more complex than the other. Similarly, computers have penetrated every part of life, may it be any kind of engineering, studies, industry, manufacturing, and even in computers we have various kind of languages. Some languages are easier to learn, easier to practice, and some are very difficult. So, to provide it a concrete mathematical formulation that is very well correlated to our human brain, our cognition, we shall be discussing today about cognitive complexity matrix of software. Once we say cognitive, it implies the way a human being understands, does reasoning and tries to inquire from the real world. Complexity, if we grasp something easily, we say it is less complex, and if it takes time, we say it is more complex. So, the outline of this talk shall be, why do we need metrics for anything? Second is, we have some pre-existing metrics, why should we look for new metrics? And if that is done, why do we need a cognitive approach for these metrics or measurement? And once we have discussed about this, we shall come down to cognitive information complexity measure that shall speak of three different kind of programming paradigms existing today. The first is procedural or structured paradigm that consists of programs like Fortran, Pascal, C. The second is object oriented paradigm that has languages like C++, Java, and lately web based programs JavaScript, VBScript, .NET, etc. Now, before we come down to the definition of metric as proposed by IEEE, let us first understand the implication of metric. If one can define anything on any scale, then you can compare. Japanese is very difficult, English is easier. By how much? 10%, 40%, 30%, how much? It is relative, but by what point scale, nobody can answer. And if these are the questions, then our research should focus to find some mathematical formulation that provides answer in terms of scale. This language is 30% more complex than that language, or 40%, 20%. Once we have done that, we can have a foundation, solid foundation. And that is the precise reason we should be worried about the complexity of a programming language and our cognition. We prepare software that makes a machine to work, but who prepares it? A human brain. We are the one who prepare it, and we can be of different categories. One is a fast learner, he may be a slow learner. We have different cognitive capabilities. So, if that is the condition, we need different cognitive ability to understand, to perform, to do a job. Now, IEEE, it defines metric as a quantitative measure of the degree to which a system, component or processes a given attribute. That means, one box of iron is heavier than the same kind of box containing cotton. Why? Because two similar boxes of same size they possess different attributes. One has iron and one has cotton. So, that is the basic definition of IEEE when it defines a metric. Now, in terms of our technical expertise and technical advancements, why do we need complexity metric? If we come down and focus to software industry, that is a multi-billion dollar industry providing India with a good GDP growth rate, it helps in forecasting the future staffing need. We have a project, that project may be for developing a software, that project might be developing a book or a manual. We should be able to forecast how many people we need. And why do we need so? It will help in calculating the budget required to create that particular entity. It helps in reducing maintenance requirement. Why do we need maintenance? If there is a breakdown, if there is a functionality which does not match to what we have thought for, it needs maintenance. That means, right from the inception, if you are able to assure that the particular subpart has been treated in a well defined manner, we would need less of maintenance. Third is, it acts as a feedback mechanism for a practitioner. Who is the practitioner? You, me, who develop something. So, once we know that this approach leads to a more complex approach, we are always ready for the next job to be done. We would avoid that approach and take an approach which has got less complexity. So, you see, it is not only affecting software development, it is affecting every day to day job that has to be performed by us. It is not so that people have not thought over these kind of developments earlier in the past, people have worked on it. So, why do we need new measures to measure complexity? To address this, we have few things that have been left in the past, like if you develop a mathematical formulation which is computationally complex, what happens then? A person who is not that intelligent, who does not have a high IQ, shall not be able to use it. And that is the precise reason we develop something that can be used by the mass, 1, 2, 10, 20 and all, not for a selected group of people who are said to be the higher IQ people of a company, of an institute, anything. Then it might be suitable for 1 or 2 programming languages or 2 spoken languages. Just imagine that way. It may not be suitable for all languages. We may have a person who knows Japanese, who knows English, who knows German. He shall be only able to compare or provide a comparative studies of these 3 languages. But if we ask him, how about Japanese, how about Sinhalese from Sri Lanka, he shall not be able to answer. Why? Because the focus has been narrow. We need something that works for a wide gamut of languages, and that is the precise reason this measure has come into being. It caters to structured programming paradigm, object oriented paradigm and web based paradigm. Then the third major impact is that most of the previous metrics are based on syntactic aspects. You go into the nitty gritty of a programming language, search for things which a general programmer might not even have heard of. So, that should be avoided. And having done this all, most of these existing measurements, they fail to provide the answer why particular programming paradigm is more complex than other, and then it fails to establish relationship between information and complexity. Just imagine a book, 1200 pages of book. It implies it has a bit more of information. If more information has to be gathered by us, digested by us, we need that much more time and maybe that much more cognition. If we have a 12-page book, 20-page book, 30-page book, 100-page book, it is very easy to digest. We understand it well. So, how do you model relationship between understanding by a human being and the information that may be in a textbook, that may be in a programming language? This has not been explored so far, which has been attempted by this metric. And hence, human centric approach is missing. It is not centered around human capital. Today, you speak of a company like Reliance Industries or Hindustan Lever. Their property is huge factory, huge land bank, machinery, this, that. Speak of company like Wipro, Infosys. What do they have? A 10-story building with computers which do not sell for even 20% after 3 years. It is intellectual capital. It is the intellectual capital on which companies are building themselves up. So, that is the area around which the research should be modeled, which has been tried in the forthcoming talk right now. Now, there are some guidance factors towards cognitive approach, and the best clue is being provided by IEEE. It says that complexity is the degree to which a system or component has a design or implementation that is difficult to understand and verify. So, just as design or implementation, the way we make it, the way we design it, and the other thing is understand and verify. Understood by human being, verified by human being. We can only verify if we have a scale point formulation, a mathematical foundation. That is the only way for verification. Otherwise, it is always complementary. By that much percentage, by this much percentage, will never come into being. Other guidance factor is the natural intelligence of human brain describes the comprehensibility of a software. Once we say comprehensibility, it means how easily we can understand a software code. And the research area that is focusing on all these aspects is nothing but cognitive informatics. So, this cognitive informatic complexity refers to the human effort needed to perform a task, the difficulty experienced in understanding the program code, or the difficulty experienced in understanding the information packed in the code. So, this approach is totally human centric. We are revolving around the way a system programmer or a normal programmer would perceive the software, understand the software, and try to make a metric out of it. Now, once we have say developed a new metric, we say the others were not suitable for this particular reason, and we say that this is good for this particular reason. Still, we should have some parameters on which we can evaluate anything that is new. Any product that comes into market, it has to be evaluated, so that you can present it a bit higher than the existing product. So, for these programming languages, we have first is language independency. It should be language independent. It should not be that you are using C language, it could be done, you are using C++, it cannot be done. No. Any language you use, it should be able to work upon it. No complex mathematical function. Nobody likes mathematics. We all want things to be very easy, so that it could be done faster. We need unambiguous definition. By unambiguous, we mean the definition should be straightforward. It should not be derived in a very spiral fashion, so that one loses track where it started, where it has to end. It should have a mathematical base in measurement theory, we have discussed about it, and straightforward to calculate. Still more, it should be suitable for automation, and that is a very important phenomenon. Anything and everything that is got a logical connection can be automated. So, if this metric is got a logical base, it could be automated, so that it could be able to calculate the complexities of different programs in different programming languages. It should accurately measure the proposed attribute. Once we say accurately measure, it should provide some numerical attribute 22.8, 37.2, 40.0. So, that is the way it should be able to measure the complexity by a numerical definition. Empirically verified, we should be able to verify that these results are correct by some ground, some theory, and it should quantitatively prove why some programming paradigm is more acceptable. Once we have a theory that dictates that learning German requires 180 complexity units and learning French requires say 120 complexity units, then we all know that if we have to learn a foreign language, we should first go for French, because its complexity is lower. That is the precise reason why we are interested in calculating complexity of different programming languages, so that everyone could use it. And that metric is cognitive information complexity measure. A scientist from Canada, Dr. Wang, he has defined software in cognitive informatics as fully described design information and implementations, instructions of computing application, which implies that software is similar to information, because software carries information. It represents computational information. It is a mathematical entity, and therefore, it is a function of identifiers and operators. Maybe if we want to know, we write now here A, B and C, they are so we have A, B, C as identifiers and the addition operator as a operator. So, any mathematical statement, any software statement either has identifiers or operators. Now, information in a language, information in a program is in the form of different lines of code, and those lines contain either identifier or operator. Therefore, one line of code will contain information which is equal to number of identifiers and number of operators. Am I being clear? Yes. Now, suppose you are writing a program to calculate temperature, where you say T equals to F plus 20 degree, and somebody else is there who writes these two statements. This notation is a cryptic notation. One who has a physics background would understand we are referring to centigrade and Fahrenheit. If you use these kind of notation, then maybe a person is got a physics background, he is not having a physics background, he knows it is particularly centigrade, Fahrenheit that is being referred to by any identifier. So, this was the result or the test carried out on various test group, and it indicated that when a program contains these kind of cryptic identifiers, we need more cognition to understand it. But if it has descriptive identifiers, we need lesser of the cognition to understand it. And based on the amount of time it took for understanding, weights were associated. So, once it was understandable, the weight was 1, otherwise it was 4, because it took 4 times the time to understand these kind of identifiers. Based upon this, we can calculate the total information in a program. It has 20 lines. For each line, we calculate the function based on identifier and operator. So, summation of all gives us the information in total program. Now, we have weighted information count of line of code. You start reading a textbook or a novel, 20th or 21st page, you suddenly come across that a car falls off a bridge for no rhyme or reason. The steering did not fail, the tire did not burst, there was no earthquake, there was no cyclone, the bridge did not fall, but the car fell from the bridge. Now, what happens? It is a 300-page novel, you are on to 20th page. So, what happens? You have to read 280 pages more to know the hidden mystery, and that is what is WICL. You start reading a program, you are in the third statement of the program, you encounter a mathematical function or a formula. What would be further implication of this formula will only be understood by you if you have come to the end of formula, end of program. So, that is nothing but weighted information count of line of code. It refers to the statement on which you are working, say third statement, divided by number of statements remaining in that program. Same as the novel, you are on the 20th page and 280 pages are remaining. So, divide by 280. Similarly, having done so for each statement, you could sum them up to find WICS, weighted information count of the total software. Now, this is one part. A software has identifiers and operators. Next, it has the other part which is known as basic control structures. Why do we need them? There is some storybook and say few pages are very interesting to you. What do? Even after you close that storybook, you read them again, maybe continuously twice, or maybe after you have read the whole story, then you read it again. Same thing we have here, looping. So, the looping structures, the different control structures are known as basic control structure. They have different complexity. So, that is associated with the program, and these weights get multiplied by what we have calculated here with when it is not nested. Nesting means one inside other. So, if you have a looping this way, that means this part is nested within this part. But if it is like this, there is no nesting. So, once there is nesting, we multiply. If there is no nesting, we add. So, that is what we do here to calculate the sum of basic control structure. And finally, we arrive at the complexity of the software, which is equals to WICS, weighted information count of line for the total software, multiplied by sum of basic control structure. Now, how does it imply and what implications we have? We will go by example. So, this is a table. It refers to 15 programs that were chosen from textbook in C language written by Balaguruswamy. He is a famous author from India. We took programs from different parts of the book in increasing order of page number. So, you can see that there are 15 programs, and at the end you can find page numbering from page number 4 to page number 226. 15 programs were taken, and we calculated CICM, cognitive information complexity measure, and average comprehension time. And you can see that as the CICM increased, the comprehension time increased. That means it has been able to model two things. First, once we require more time to understand a program, that means it is more complex. The complexity should increase, which is being modeled by CICM. The values are in increasing order. Secondly, once the complexity increases, while reading a textbook, the pattern is first few pages are very easier to understand, the middle portion becomes a bit difficult, and the last few chapters are very difficult. And that is true for every human being, every subject, botany, zoology, chemistry, computer, math, anything. First chapter, cakewalk. Second, third, fourth chapter, introductory. Fifth to eighth, say, concepts becomes a bit difficult. And last, it's recommended for amateurs who understand very well. So, this measure is able to model the way any human would understand a textbook. So, that is the beauty of this measure. Now, once we say that this measure is good, we need to compare it with existing measures so that we can compare them. So, the chart shows that the one in the pink is the existing measure, but for some programs the complexity became constant. But the one in the blue is the one we are speaking of, CICM. It shows different complexity for different programs. So, this way we can say that it is being able to model the human understanding behavior in a better manner. And this is the plot which compares this complexity value by comprehension time. It again shows that the comprehension time increases with increase in complexity. Highlights are it encompasses all major parameters of software, satisfies all the 9 Weyuker properties. We will not go into details of Weyuker properties, but just a brief introduction. Weyuker was a scientist who put forward 9 properties for evaluating any complexity measure. So, this measure adheres to all the 9 Weyuker properties. It is computationally simple, there is no complex mathematical formulation. It establishes relationship between understanding the software and its complexity. It simulates text understanding behavior. So, this has been done for structured programming C language. Now, again the same measure fits well into object oriented language. What is object oriented language? Object oriented language revolves around real world object. This screen is an object, chair is an object, a camera is an object, lights are object, a fan is an object. So, once we say object, that means say for example, a fan, a ceiling fan, so it has these units, major units, 3 blades, a rod that holds on to it, and this is the unit which has armature, winding, bearing, etc. So, externally we could say that there are 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 sub objects which contribute together to form one single entity. Entity is fan. So, that is what is object oriented software. It identifies different objects which exist in real world and correlates it to computer science. So, the metric we saw right now, CICM, works on this kind of object oriented software too. How? We will just see in a second. Object oriented paradigm is built on notion of real world entities. Any entity around us is object. It has received higher acceptability among different mass people. Why? Because that is the way we think. An apple is an apple, it is an object. You can't use a language, say C language or any language to describe an apple. How do you describe it? Color, size, shape, weight. These are its attributes. We need them to understand, and that is the reason why we say object oriented language is much more user friendly. Our cognition accepts it easily. Perception of lower complexity. That is the reason we think it should be less complex. So, to establish the same metric CICM, we need to compute the complexity of object oriented program. And once we compute it, we shall be able to demonstrate that object oriented program has got lower complexity than programs written in C language or any Fortran or Pascal language. How do we do it? Simple approach. We have 5 objects. If we calculate the complexity of this and this 5 objects and sum it up, that should be the complexity of this object. Plus there is another complexity. We should know whether rod will fit here or here. If somebody has not seen a fan in his life, why shouldn't you expect him to fit this rod here? He could. He may try to. That means, apart from calculating the complexities of these objects independently and summing them up, there is something else hidden into it. And here we model that in terms of inter-object complexity measure. These sub-objects we call inter-objects. They contribute to a new phenomena. Same way in programming of object-oriented programs, Java, C++, we have different functions, different classes. We can find their complexity, but there is message transfer between them, so that they achieve to act as a single entity. So, that adds to the existing component that we have discussed in the previous talk. So, this is defined in terms of first number of object, second total number of messages exchanged between these sub objects, third how many messages sent by this, by this, by this or by this. So, when we speak of first object, say this blade, we say that if there are 10 messages sent and the first one sends 2 messages, is 2 by 5 log of 2 by 5. It is nothing but probabilistic entropy calculation, and M refers to number of objects. So, this way, apart from what we have seen up till now, this IOCM, inter-object complexity measure, adds to what we have done till now. So, the cognitive information complexity measure of object oriented software COOS is equals to CICMC, cognitive information complexity measure of each class, plus CICMMF, cognitive information complexity measure of main function, plus intra-object complexity measure. So, this computes the CICM of object oriented software. And the results show that the CICM of object oriented software is lower than that of procedural program. And the proposed CICM adheres to literature and practice that programs written in object oriented language are easier to understand. This is a bar chart which represents complexities of 5 different programs written in both the languages. So, the one in blue represents program written in C language, and the one in red represents program, the same program written in object oriented language. And you can see that object oriented representation always has lower complexity than structured or procedural programs. There are some subjective metrics like cognitive conceptual complexity, documentation complexity, and cognitive process of software inspection. First discuss cognitive conceptual complexity. What is concept? Anything that is framed to make anyone understand something. Once we speak of fan, how the bearings rotate because of the rotor and the fans rotate to give us air. There are many concepts into it. First, how does the electric current produce rotational energy? Then, how does the blades cut the air and throw the air down so that we can feel the air? There are different concepts into it. So, if a small program is trying to represent many number of concepts, it becomes very difficult to understand. But if a program represents one concept, two concepts, then it is easier for us to understand. That is what it refers to. More number of distinct concepts in a program, a class, increases the comprehension effort, understanding effort. And for calculating this, we have number of distinct concepts in a program, in a class, multiplied by weight of concept. Now, what can be the weight of concept? This weight is decided upon by the cognitive level of a human being, and the research shows that there are 3 kind of human understanding behavior. First is subconscious cognitive function. These are present in every human being when he is born and has not been to school. What do you learn till before you go to school? How to eat, how to cry, how to ask for water, how to understand that a cat is coming, a dog is barking. We all learn that before going to school. So, that is nothing but subconscious cognitive function. Then we have meta cognitive function. We do our schooling, we attend college, we acquire some skill, that is nothing but metacognitive function. And then we have higher cognitive function. You start working, suppose you are preparing dynamos, 10 years you make dynamos. So, dynamo is a cakewalk for you. So, that is higher cognitive. So, we say that a class, a program should be modeled in such a way that subconscious cognitive function should be able to understand that. If that is done, then the multiplying factor, weight of the concept is 1. If that is not the case, it is too complex to understand, the multiplying factor is 3. So, the complexity increases. The design should help a novice. Novice means somebody who is not very well versed with it, to identify the real world entity being modeled unambiguously. Then comes documentation complexity. We all buy TV, fridge, camcorders and mobile phones, and I am pretty sure most of us are not able to follow the instructions written in the manual. Why? Because they assume that we know this much. Beyond that, they start writing, and that is the defect in electronic industry even today. If they provide a proper documentation, so that a subconscious cognitive person could understand it, then we don't need people from a company, please install my camcorder, please install my any other electronic device or something. So, that is what it addresses to. Low quality of documentation or missing documentation is a major cause of errors in software development. It could be anywhere, but since we are specific to software, we say software development, testing, maintenance, re-engineering. Previously, Dr. Patnaik had taken a lecture where he spoke of re-engineering. That means improving it from the then technology to the present technology. You can only improve once you have proper documentation, because the person who made it 10 years back may not be available in the company or the institute. So, if you have a written record, proper written record, then any new person entering the institute could very well re-engineer it. So, documentation complexity proposes optimization of documentation produced, provides easy understandability, which is suitable for software maintenance. Here again it refers to 3 different categories: subconscious cognitive function. If that is able to understand the documentation, we say documentation is of high quality. If metacognitive function is required, we say it's average quality, otherwise it is of low quality. If an engineer understands how to install a camcorder, that means the documentation is useless, it falls in low quality. So, it is used for enhancing the comprehensibility of software product, reduces the maintenance cost and effectively exploits the system, which reduces re-engineering cost and effort. And the third last measure, which is subjective, is process of software inspection. If we forget word software, cognitive process of inspection. So, what is inspection? You have some problem and somebody has to inspect it. Now, take an example. You buy a new car, come out of the showroom and suddenly the car stops. You give a ring to the company and the company sends its senior most engineer to check the problem. Why? Because you have been buying cars regularly every month. So, that senior engineer from the company comes and what does he look into first? He will open the bonnet and check for microprocessor control unit, and it is working. He will do everything which is more complex. He would say, I will try somebody else. Then who would come? Some Ram, Rahim or Ashraf, a engineer, ITI pass engineer. What would he do? He will first check petrol hai ki nahi, is the petrol there or not, and he would say there is no petrol in the car. You just took out the car from the showroom and the petrol is finished. That is the mentality of any inspection, and that is true for software industry too. You have a high intellectual people who come for software inspection. He looks for those areas which are very critical, very difficult. He would not look into those areas which could really contain fault. So, that is what it refers to. The bottleneck of code inspection are lack of research on team members. We have a team everywhere. We have not researched their cognitive abilities, and we have a team that contains members which have similar point of view, which should not be. He should have some different attitude, you should have some different attitude, and presently people lay stress on technical maturity, which has got nothing to do with inspection process. What is proposed is that it is a cognitive based phenomena. It should have documentation at each step. It should be user centric. It should address to psychological aspects of the system and cognition level of software system user. Having done this, we just briefly look into a cognitive software development model. A model describes anything. A process model could be for maintaining a air conditioner, for maintaining a car, For everything we have a process model which tells do this first, then this, then this, then this. This model has two important components. On the left and the right, first you have cognitive phenomena based team member selection. On the other side, you have documentation based on cognitive phenomena. If these two things are added to the existing process, the software development becomes foolproof. Why? You take a team which has got people from different categories. They don't share the same cognitive phenomena. They have different point of view, different education. And then whatever you do in the process, you note down at each step. If these two things are done along with this process in between, we are nearly achieving a foolproof software development. Now, this graph extends the phenomena to web based programs. We have seen object oriented program, we have been C programs, and now the third category is web based programs. When this was tested for web based program, the results were as seen here. There are 9 programs, each program written in C language, C++ language and JavaScript, and you can see the difference. The one in yellow represents program written in C, the one in red represents Java program, and the one in blue represents JavaScript. JavaScript is a web based program. Since the world is of internet based today, we need to look at it, web based software. So, results show that web based software, specifically JavaScript, VBScript, it has much lesser cognitive complexity as compared to object oriented program and further compared to C program. So, we will conclude whatever we have seen in this lecture. The first is, we have seen the relationship between cognitive complexity of a program and the time taken to understand the program that we are trying to establish. It maps closely to comprehension strategy of a person, anyone who does or thinks about it. It has been able to model the relationship between cognitive informatics and the object oriented software development process, as we have seen here. We club the different parts to find sum of whole, which is what has been done here. It has made an attempt to establish that proposed cognitive information complexity measure is suitable for procedural and object oriented software. It has also been extended to calculate the complexity of XML documents that contain JavaScript, and it has been found that for every sample program, the CICM for XML document is the lowest, as we had seen in the previous graph. Thus, it has been able to establish on a firm ground that we have a measure that takes care of human understanding behavior to model, to verify the complexities that exist in different programming languages. And this really models what is seen in the market today. You go to the market and to find a programmer who does programming in C language, you would find very few. Java and C++, thousands. JavaScript, VBScript, millions. Why? Because they are easy to understand and easy to develop. I hope it has been clear with you all. And if any query at all, I am happy to answer them.